Ready? And
action. You gonna close up? See you later.
Deuces.
You bringing us food? Oh, awesome. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, all right. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
We need to come up with a name for the show. We'll figure that out in post.
Yeah, we'll have to reconvene that one.
So we decided to sit down with this crazy deal that I got. You're not going to believe. So I'll let you guess. So this is a Marantz SR 6011, 6011. I got this. I got Motion 8 center channel and Motion 40 left and right from Martin Logan. Everything was still in the box. How much would you say it's worth? Since you work at a pawn shop and you kind of deal with this stuff all the time, this stuff is in almost new condition.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of audio equipment in general, so I've looked at a lot of it. I actually personally own some of the Martin Logan stuff, so I know most of the speakers are around $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So I know the motions, the towers. I think they're discontinued now. They're being replaced by the Motion 40i, the new version.
Yeah.
But so they originally were like $1,000. If you look, you can get them on clearance, $500-$600 maybe.
Yeah.
But so the center channel around $500 as well.
Okay.
And then the receiver, this caliber originally, I think they replaced these now as well. So the end of life on those as well, but around $2,000 to $1,500 new.
Dang. Okay.
For the receiver on the retail side.
So how much would you say would be a good deal buying this stuff in this condition used?
If you could get anything, all of this together for $1,000 to $1,500, you'd score a home run.
Nice. I got it for $700.
That is, somebody is in tears. Whoever bought this originally is crying over their losses today.
Yeah, he seemed a little down. His wife was with him. I think she made him get rid of it.
I hear that a lot. You know, there in the home theater industry, there is a wife approval factor.
Right.
When you talk about towers nowadays and speakers, they have to have a certain look and appeal in the living room to get the wife approval stamp.
Yeah, and they were. This is big equipment. I think they said they moved to a smaller place, but man, it looks brand new. The speakers look brand new. Everything's still in the box. All the foam, all the books, and he's got the microphone for the testing, the calibration microphone, the paper tower. It doesn't look like it's ever even been used.
I mean, it's still got the stickers on the receiver.
Yeah,
so
the stickers are everywhere. So it's I couldn't believe it. I had to drive 2.5 hours to get it, but it was totally worth it.
I'd drive 4 for that price.
Yeah, I'd drive more than that. So I mean, the reason I got it was, here in the studio, since we do through Lux Dream Spaces, obviously we do the home theater installs and custom home theaters and stuff. We wanted a demo room here, so I wanted to set up an Atmos system in one of the offices here that's kind of low key looks wise. Obviously, we went a little different direction with these just because of what we ended up with. I really just wanted the receiver. And I was like, how much for the receiver? I probably would have paid $500-$700 just for the receiver. And he was like,
it would have been a fair price, I think.
And he was like, I've got these speakers and they're still in the box. And I was like, okay, why not? I've got Polks now, so let's replace those. And so this was kind of like a budget system that I put together before.
I think the Martin and Logan will top the Polk audios by one shot.
100%. Yeah.
One thing that makes the Martin and Logans really cool is the tweeter that they use. They use a folded ribbon tweeter, which a lot of people probably don't even know what that is. But
yeah.
It takes the material and folds it over in a way to where it gives it a really gentle, soft, vocal, and musical, and just has a really nice, soft sound to it. So it doesn't hurt your ears. Like you can turn it up a little bit louder, and your ears don't hurt because it's louder.
And it worked out really well with those ribbon tweeters because I've got the Atom Audio monitors on my desk behind, so they're on the opposite end of the room, and the tweeters match perfectly. It's all black. It's the same color, and so it looks like I planned it. So I'm just going to tell everybody that. So I'm cool with that.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. So everything flows together now. I'm happy with it. So pretty much what I'm going to do, since in the office we kind of set it up where my desk where I do the editing and stuff, I've got the Atom monitors there, and then I've got my sound processor and the computer and microphone, everything set up. And then on the other half of the room, actually more like 2/3, we've got a small sectional couch, obviously, and then right now we've just got a TV in there. But I'm going to end up I've got a drop down screen in storage that we're going to put in, and then I'm probably going to do a short throw projector in there.
I'm looking at those for years. I can never pull the trigger on one yet.
Yeah, they're awesome. The last custom build that we did, I'll throw in some B-roll on top of this so everybody can see it. It was they wanted something that was not just a dedicated theater. They also wanted to play video games and still have it as like a family room and stuff. And so we did the short throw projector with the gray daylight screen, and it looks like a regular TV and with the lights on. So it's really cool.
So I'll tell you a funny story. Just happened not too long ago. We decided to buy a new TV, and you know about Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
So Kickstarter, there was a company that had a single laser short throw projector, and they were releasing a new version that's going to be a 4-laser short throw projector. But they still had it on Kickstarter on a pre-order, with the delivery time being about 6 to 8 months. And if you bought it on the pre-order, you got $1,500 off the price.
Oh, wow.
And you got a free 120-inch light rejection screen with it.
Yeah.
So I talked to my wife, and it was going to be $3,000. She was like, screw it. Let's do it. We'll put it on a credit card. Let's get it.
There you go.
I measured the space. I could not fit a 120-inch screen, even if I tried.
Yeah, that was this last one. They were wanting a 150-inch screen, but it was in an attic, so it had the slanted ceilings on the sides, and we literally could not fit a 150-inch screen in there with a short throw projector, and we'd already ordered the projector.
Yeah, that's massive.
And so it was like it would have fit if we would have ran it all the way down to the floor. If I would have done a traditional projector, we could have done it, but still the screen would have been sitting on the floor. And the wall was only like 14 feet wide, and then you put the ceilings coming down like that. It just wasn't enough room. Yep. But what we ended up doing, since the screen was smaller, was I did a full built-in that wrapped around the front, and I took KEF in-wall speakers, and we built the boxes spec-tuned for the specs on the KEF speakers. So instead of having them mounted in-wall, I built sealed boxes for them. And then so I mounted those on the left and the right, towed in, and then we built bass traps around them. We built it into the bass trap. So you've got a bass trap with in-wall speakers that are actually in sealed boxes on the left and the right, and they're curved.
I'm sure it looks fantastic.
I'm gonna show.
I'd love to hear it. Dude,
it sounds amazing. We're actually going to do a podcast. So we finished that up a few months ago. And he calls me all the time because he's like, hey, I messed up some of the settings. Can you come on? So it's like every time he calls, I'm like, yeah, cool. And he lets me hang out and watch a movie and stuff. So we're actually going to do a podcast in the theater because I did like 17 acoustic treatments in there. The risers, I vented and stuffed. The front built in, I stuffed like everything. We built, walls inside of the walls. So everything's soundproofed. We did like 1.5-inch thick carpet, double insulated the floors. Like it makes this space look like junk.
Yeah, well, I think like that's where a lot of people have a big misconception about sound and audio. They don't even know about sound treatment, and so they don't know how much sound treatment. I've seen setups where people have spent thousands of dollars in a setup.
Yeah.
And they say, this sounds like crap. Why did I spend so much money?
Yeah, why does it not sound like it sounded in the demo room?
Right. And
because that room was set up specifically for quality sound. You go and you put it in your open concept living room with hardwood floors and vaulted ceilings and no carpet, no rugs, nothing on the walls, a bunch of windows. It's going to sound like crap. It doesn't matter if you spend $30,000 on speakers. If you don't put them in the right room, they're going to sound awful. And yeah, we see that all the time.
That's a huge misunderstanding, I think.
Yeah, people don't understand it. I can take in-wall speakers that are 1/10 of the budget of some of these really high-end stuff and make them sound better in a treated room than just taking a really high-end set of speakers and just throwing them in your living room. People don't they can't comprehend that. It makes no sense to them.
So let me ask you something. I saw a review the other day of a pair of speakers, and they were $750,000.
Jesus.
For a pair of speakers.
This is the point of diminishing return at that point.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'd love to hear them,
Yeah.
but I can't see the value in it.
I mean, I feel like, we're not dogs. Like, I feel like our hearing is only so good. And as the older you get, the worse it gets. And so as you get older, you can't hear the same pitches that you could when you were younger. And by the time you're able to afford something like that, like half of your hearing's gone. Especially guys like me and you that have been in audio for so long. Like I've been doing this pretty much all my life. Like I think I set up my first home theater. It was total junk in my bedroom when I was like 9. I set up my first surround sound system. I'd Frankensteined a bunch of stuff together, and I've been doing this for a while. And you get into car audio and subwoofers and all that stuff.
So when I was younger, actually, I did an internship when I was in high school with a car audio shop. And one of the things the guy did that owned a car audio shop when I left, because I did a bunch of work for him because it was internship in high school, where you obviously didn't get paid.
Yeah.
So he ended up giving me a bunch of speakers. I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. But they're just raw speakers. So I started doing some research, and I ended up building a custom subwoofer with custom towers. And I did that when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And that was like my first big setup at the house. And I had neighbors. We lived in a more urban, like a city area. So our neighbors were pretty close. And my neighbors would complain that when they were sitting in the living room, their table was rattling.
Yeah. You didn't have any sound treatments. No bass traps.
I did not. And it was, I was in my bedroom, so my bed was a pretty good bass trap.
Yeah.
But other than that.
I remember when I first moved out, when I was, after I graduated high school, I had some old Pioneer 12-inch paper cone subwoofers that were in those little triangle, like Walmart boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd taken them out of my old Toyota pickup truck, and they were just sitting in storage. And I was like, I can do something with these. Man, I don't know how we didn't burn the house down. We set those things underneath my couch because they were in those slim boxes, so they would fit under the couch. So like we tore the material out and set them up under the couch. And then I reversed a inverter so I could run 110 to 12 volt. And I ran I forgot the name of it. It was those old blue amplifiers that had like the blue diamond on the top. It was like the off-brand.
I remember.
Oh, man, you would know. They were like baby blue. They were hideous. But you could get them. Remember the flea markets and stuff, and you can go and pick up the cheap audio equipment and all this,
some of it,
the knockoff stuff.
Yeah, the knockoff stuff.
This is from 2006, 2007. So we wired all that stuff in. I had a car amplifier under my couch. I don't know how we didn't burn the house down, but it was awesome, and you could feel it.
I've done that. I've done the exact same thing.
We've all done it, man.
I've done the exact same thing.
I love it. Yeah, we used to take, and my front speakers, my left and rights were Pioneer 6x9s that I built boxes for and then wired those in. At that point, I didn't know anything about ohms or resistance or any of that stuff.
My front speakers, the first ones I built myself, they were Focal. A lot of people don't even know what Focal is.
No, not back then.
Even now you don't really hear a lot about Focal.
No.
Because it's a really niche company, and they, to my understanding, they're handmade in France or Italy.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
They're
I don't know exactly where, but yeah, I've heard a lot of audiophile guys talk about them. They enjoy them. So
you gonna let me test drive this puppy at my house?
No, you can test drive it here though.
Oh,
so that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this up as the demo, and so this is it's 11 channels, but it's 9 channels powered, I believe. And so what we're going to do with that is I think I'm going to set it up as a 7.4 system. And so I've got the specs here. This is it's 110 watts per channel at 8 ohms and 150 watts at 6 ohms, which is crazy. And then you can bridge the front, left, and right and get 185 watts at 6 ohms. So that's moving. That's pretty good. And these Martin Logans, I don't know. Let's pull this thing out and check it out.
Should have plenty of power.
It's 8.
So this little speaker right here has a range frequency of 120 hertz to 25,000 hertz.
Holy crap!
And then we got.
There's that ribbon tweeter.
It's 4 ohms compatible with
Wow.
8 ohms. You do either
So
one.
you can do 8 or 4.
It's a sealed cabinet, so you won't get some of the bass port distortions, which should be nice.
It's even got the built-in wall mount brackets. That's a beautiful speaker.
Recommended power anywhere from 20 watts to 130 watts. So it sounds like we should be able to clear that with this puppy right here.
That's for the center. I don't even know what the specs are. Did you get I laid the spec sheet out for the towers. Let's check those out. Because those would be the ones that we'll be bridging. You said that'll go up to 120?
120 watts for the center channel.
At 8 ohms? Okay. This runs 110, so that's a perfect pair there. Yeah, so the system I want to run, I think I'm only going to run one subwoofer because it's a pretty small room. It's like 12 by 11.
Well, I mean, also the speaker, the tower speakers, they go all the way down to 46 hertz, according to this.
Dang.
Actually, no, the Motion 20 go down to 46. The Motion 40s go down to 40 hertz to 25,000 hertz. So, I mean, 40 hertz, that's
pretty low. You may not even need a subwoofer in there.
most of your music.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going for music, most of your music doesn't go lower than 50.
Right.
Now, you talk about some, like, good explosions. And
Yeah.
you want those 20s.
Yeah, I was thinking about setting we'll test the layout and figure out where the subwoofer sounds best, but I kind of like having it behind the couch.
Yeah, same difference. 4 ohms compatible, but rated for 8 ohm amplifier. So if you got some really big impacts going and big hits, it'll drop down to 4 ohms to kind of compensate and
Nice.
help you out. And then range on your power consumption is 200 to 300 watts. So
Okay,
these
so the
speakers-
185. So we can bridge this, and then I can get a secondary 4-channel amplifier to run the 4 overhead Atmos speakers and have a killer system in there.
Well, I mean, if the size of the room, you would have, I mean, really only 2 Atmos speakers is really all you need.
Yeah, but I overdo everything.
I mean, the room's as big as a sandbox, so.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bigger than this room. It's not as wide, but it's deeper. So we would have room for it. It's also a demo room, so we want to be able to show kind of everything.
I understand.
The last one I did had 6 overhead speakers.
I'm kind of a bass junkie, though, so I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's I'm probably just going to run one 12-inch sub. It's I've already got a Paradigm. That's I don't remember the wattage on it, but it's plenty. I mean, I used to have it in a 14 by 20 room, and it was more than enough. It's a good looking speaker, man. It really looks exactly like my Adam Audios.
It's clean, stylish.
It's very clean, and it's going to fit in my cabinet that I've got. The problem is that Definitive I've got right now is it's too big. I don't know if this comes out or not.
I don't think so.
Feels like it does.
Yeah, maybe. If you pull on it hard enough.
Let's leave it. That'd be my luck. I'll break it. But yeah, so I mean that's going to be. I got to figure out what I'm going to run for the surrounds. I mean, right now I've got some Dayton Audio, bookshelf speakers, and they're pretty good. A lot of people don't know about Dayton Audio.
It's best kept secret.
It is, man. I love their stuff. I've got a few of their little mini amplifiers, like 200-watt mini amplifiers. I mean, they're like this big, and I can power them off a battery bank that I carry with me. So for testing speakers out, they're awesome.
If you ever want to get into building your own speakers, that's the best place to go to buy your own speakers to build.
I've built several of them. So I've got a center channel. I think I gave it to Nathan that I built. It was one of their Parts Express kits, and I mean this was like 10 years ago, and that thing still sounds phenomenal, and it looks great. I've got 2 other kits. I had one that I'm going to build as a job site radio that's a Bluetooth. It's one of the Parts Express kits. I just haven't gotten around to building it.
I've seen the kits. I've never ordered one yet, but I've seen
the kits are awesome, man, because everything you need is there. You don't have to guess and everything, so it takes all the hard crap out of it. I mean, you still got to solder everything together and mount the board and all that stuff, but everything you need is right there, and they sound phenomenal. Some people don't realize. I mean, if you've got any kind of DIY skill at all, you can, for a fourth of the price, you can have stuff that sounds great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's why you can take. I mean, people. I feel like that's almost like a secret in the industry is taking in-wall speakers and making boxes for them. I've had a lot of success doing that. It's in-wall speakers are always going to be cheaper because you're just buying just the speaker itself.
Well, yeah, because I mean the cabinet design and the fabrication of the cabinet, to make it look nice the way they want it to be presentable. Right. There's a lot of money involved in that.
And most of them are made to where they will work with an infinite baffle system, but there's still a spec to where they're going to sound the best. And so they take a lot of crap, really, because they're made to just go in a sheetrock wall.
I've seen some stuff where people take, like where they go with the sheetrock wall and basically in between the studs seal off a cabinet.
Yep.
And basically
I've done that as well.
Create a box that's made out of the wall that you put the speaker in. And you talking about going back to one of the things we said at the very beginning of this, getting the wife approval factor, right?
Yep.
So you could take these speakers, put them in the wall, get some fabric that matches the color of your walls, and cover the speakers up, and you would never see the difference.
Exactly. Well, a lot of these are paintable now, and they're magnetic. So like the last ones that we did the Klipsch 5501 end walls, and they've got the magnetic covers, and you can paint them. And so we painted everything the same color. They blended right in. And the boxes I built were 1.25 cubic feet, which is a pretty big box for an end-wall speaker. And since it had those slanted ceilings, I mounted the boxes. I built them to where they would fit right between the studs. Well, the rest of the box was inside that little knee wall, where it's just wasted space. So on the outside, it looked like and I trimmed it out top to bottom to where it looked like a column on the wall, and then the speaker was built into the column. And so they only stuck out from the wall like this far.
Yeah, but now you're talking about some skills, so.
Yeah, but I'm a carpenter, so. And we've been building, if you've built speaker boxes, we built them out of MDF.
Right.
Yeah, so we built them out of MDF, and then, we sanded them down, and then put almost like bonded as sheetrock mud, basically. We skim coated everything and then sanded it down, and then oil-based primered it, and then we were able to paint it just like it was wood.
Right.
And it turned out so good. We did the same thing in the ceiling with the Atmos speakers. I did 1 cubic foot. They were 8-inch Atmos speakers, and built 1 cubic foot boxes. So it was just a square. And then I set it to where it would sit in between the rafters, and we angled all of them. So when you're sitting there looking up, all the speakers are angled in and towards you. So the front ones are angled like this. So it looked like a dome, and I had them all equidistant away from each other. And so it was like, 4 feet from left to right, and then it was the same distance all the way around. So it was just like one big square, and it was just angled in, and they sound so good.
I'd say so. That's a lot of attention to detail, but that's
what
you got to do.
So, but we had a budget for the equipment, and so it was another thing where his wife, she was like, "Okay, you can get the sound you want if it looks good." Right. And so we made it look phenomenal. We did a tray all the way around, did LED lights, did 3 sound clouds all the way down, did those in black, painted everything flat black. So like when you cover the window, like I made an acoustic treatment and built the trim for the window so the acoustic treatment would kind of clip into the top and then slide in, and it would cover the window. So it would cut down on all the reverberation from the glass, but it also blocked out all the light 100%.
Yeah, that's
double duty.
So life goals: get a custom home theater at the house.
$200,000 to be yours.
$200,000 I do not have.
It was more than just the theater. We built a bar area, an office. Like it ended up being like 700 square feet that we had to finish out and do electrical and HVAC and carpet and trim and all that stuff. So we added 700 square foot to the house as well. It wasn't an existing room. It was just an attic, which is crazy. I did not know what I was getting myself into when I started that job.
So how long did it take you?
We were there for like 6 months. Not nonstop, but we were, because we had so many different crews.
Did y'all pour foundation?
No, it was in the attic. So it was over the garage. The structure was there.
Okay.
But it was just open framing. There was no subfloor or anything.
I got you.
Yeah. So it was 14-inch I-beams. We went in, double, triple insulated everything, 2 layers of subfloor, glued everything down, and then built the walls on top of that.
6 months, that's still pretty good though.
It was pretty good. And we did everything. So it was like the only thing that me and my guys didn't do was the electrical, but I used the same electrician I've been using for 6 years. And so he's basically part of our crew. And then the HVAC guy is kind of the same way. Everything else we did. It was wild. And it was kind of cramped in there because the ceilings were kind of low. And at some points we had like 10, 11, 12 guys in there all at once. Had all my carpenters, me, Chris was there.
So what kind of receiver did y'all use for that setup?
A Denon. It was a 11 channel Denon. So, no, it was a 13 channel. Yeah, because it was a 7.2.6. So it was it a 58?
Do you know that Denon and Marantz are owned by the same company?
Yeah. And don't they make Onkyo too?
No, they're different. No, Onkyo is different. But I know Denon and Marantz are owned the same company. So essentially, Marantz is like your premier, let's lead the way, develop. And you pay extra $1,000 for that, and then Denon comes behind and says, "Well, here's the stuff that's not quite the latest and greatest, but almost the same thing."
We took last year's model and rebranded it,
and instead of putting a real fancy finish on it, we make it look a little more basic and charge half the price.
Make it look like an Onkyo.
Yeah,
I love Onkyo. Like I've had 3 of them, but all 3 of them have gone out on me.
One of my first receivers I ever bought, and it outlasted me. I don't know where it's at anymore. I ended up selling it, and it's somewhere else.
And my first lifting coach when I was 18 gave me a 5-channel Sony, and I still have it. We still use it in the garage. It's a 5.1 Sony. Doesn't even have HDMI on it. It's RCA and optical. It's got optical audio on it. That thing is still rocking.
That's the thing when you look at receivers like that, they're a lifetime investment. Whereas like you buy like a little stereo in the box, if that thing lasts you 3-4 years,
exactly.
You've outlived what it should be. So
yeah,
that's what a lot of people don't know about equipment like this. It's really built to last.
Yeah,
not like most things nowadays are.
No, they're not. But I mean, even though it's built to last, the problem is like technology is changing so much. So like if you've got from a few years back the highest end 5.1 system, like what is that going to get you now? Like,
I mean, that's true from a movie perspective, but from an audio equipment aspect of it,
for
there's
music,
a lot of guys that still really, really enjoy the old music equipment because it's got more of that analog, softer sound to it versus like the new stuff with all the digital infill.
Right,
it's not the original.
Yeah, for me, like if I'm at home, I'm just watching movies. Like if I'm listening to music, I'm going to use my monitors if I'm listening to music because that's really what those are made for, and they're self-powered and everything, and or just in the truck. So I got a Bose system in my truck; it's good enough.
We can't advertise for Bose around here.
No, it was factory. I didn't pay for it. I mean, I paid for it when I bought the truck, but it's good enough. I've got a subwoofer that I'm wanting to put in there. It's just haven't gotten around to installing it. It's a kicker, the flat box. Hey man. So that we did actually did a whole system in my Suburban. I got a 2002 Suburban, and we redid the whole system on it. I did the new Type R's, the brand new ones, the component sets. And then I did a 5-channel amp on that. And so 4 door speakers, and then I did a kicker sub under the middle seat, in the mid seat in the Suburban. 12-inch sub with the crap, I just had a brain fart. It's a powered sub, and then the other one that's you know what I'm
passive.
talking about. The passive, it's a
passive
dual
sub.
12 passive setup.
Yeah.
That sounds phenomenal. And I'm only running like 500 watts to it. It's I'm to the point where I'm getting old, and it's like I don't need as much bass. If it vibrates the rearview mirror, I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, in the car, you're in such a small space, it can really rattle your head. Really fast. So I had to downsize my car. I went from having 2 12s in my trunk to now I only got one.
Yeah,
I got the amp. I bought a smaller amp to get less power to it.
Right.
And I got it turned to like a quarter.
Yeah.
And it's still.
Yeah. I've got the Suburban set up to where you don't know anything's in there, because the sub is under the seat, and then the amp is under the center console. So you can pull out the cup holders, and we mounted it down in there in the floor.
No, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's all pretty slick. So, and then I did the Planet Audio 10-inch screen that, not the one that pops out. It's just, it looks like a tablet up there, which is the new thing. It's pretty cool.
Well, Tesla really got that look going, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, I just put one in my GMC. I got the 14-inch. It's freaking massive. And it's nice to have it because it's a GMC. They had the IntelliLink, so you didn't have CarPlay, and I hated it. I've been dealing with it for 5 years. It's driving me nuts.
I feel like we're really...
Yeah, man, we're going all over the place. So let's get back to this Marantz. So we're going to set this thing up. We're go out here and unbox these speakers and take a look at them. We'll video that. And I want to get these things hooked up and see what they sound like. And so let's get to that. And then maybe on the next show, we'll talk about the installation process of these and kind of how they sound and everything. And I don't know, maybe we'll try to do like a deal of the week type thing where we just look on Marketplace and see what we can find.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. And then obviously you and the pawn shop can talk about stuff that you find.
We find the basic stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
The pawn shop doesn't get the high-end stuff very often.
Yeah, because everybody can go online and sell it.
I did at home. I do have a pair of Bowers & Wilkerson.
Nice.
600 series tower speakers that I did buy the pawn shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I bought them for so cheap, I feel like I can't disclose the price on them. Just because somebody might get upset.
Right.
But let's just say it's probably about a tenth of the price was those retail for.
Nice. Yeah, you can't beat that, man. It's I'm always up for a good deal. It's and that I usually try to be kind of lenient on what I go with, just because if I can spend a third or a fourth of what I would new, I can be a little more lenient. That's a lot of guys are like so anal about like, oh, your speakers have to match. It's like, as long as my front soundstage matches, I'm okay with that. It's the surrounds don't have to match. They're not producing the same sounds. As long as they match each other.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm cool with that.
With the microphone, like if you got a good calibration mic, you can dial a lot of things in pretty close and make it sound. The Marantz, the processing power they got in them. The microphone comes with it. You set it up and let it run its calibration system, and it almost does everything itself.
It really does. And you can get about, I feel like 95 to 98% of the potential just by the onboard tuning on these. You can run REW and room equalization and all that stuff. That's really good if you've got treatments and stuff like that, I feel like.
And if you know what you're doing, but you can really squeeze out another 20% out of one of these guys once you know what to do with the calibration setup, for sure.
Yeah, especially if your room is set up to where you can actually move stuff around and you're not set on where it has to be, especially like when it comes to bass. If you can move your sub around, you can really make some good tweaks on it. But if you're kind of limited on where it's set and how things are angled and stuff, it kind of limits you a little bit.
You ever hear of the bass crawl?
Oh,
know what that is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It works to get you close enough. Really, it does. So, but again, you got to be lenient on where you can place the subs. I'm a big fan of going all four corners.
Yeah, that's balls to the wall. That's all out.
If you can put a sub in each corner, like you can, like you're set. Like what else do you need? Or even if you can do three, if you can do the front corners and then the middle and the back, then that's pretty good. But yeah, if you've got one sub, like you don't know where it's going to go, really.
No, that's the only way to really find the best place is to do the bass crawl.
Yeah.
I guess you want to explain what the bass crawl is?
Yeah. So basically, you set the sub where you're going to be sitting, and then you crawl your ass around on the floor and see where it sounds the best, and that's where you should set the sub.
That's it. That's it.
It's kind of funny. It looks funny, and it's it's the same as the mirror trick to figure out where your acoustic treatment should go.
Right.
You have a friend, you sit where you're supposed to go, and then you slide the mirror down the wall, and then whenever you see one of your speakers, that's going to be a reflection point, so that's where you want to put an absorber or a deflector. And so that's some simple little tricks if you didn't design your room ahead of time. So
that's the simple tricks that 99% of people don't know about.
Yeah, but they're all over YouTube, man. It's so easy to find that stuff out.
What do we do before YouTube, anyways?
I don't know.
How
I
did we
really
live?
don't.
I don't remember. I know I was around before YouTube.
I drove down to probably whatever car audio shop you were working at to ask questions. Where were you, by the way?
Well, actually, back then I lived in Germany, so
Okay, all right.
it was a little car audio shop there. But
Yeah,
the car audio industry, unfortunately, is not what it used to be.
no, it's not. Well, I mean, the factory systems are so good now.
And the cars have gotten so complicated to work on.
God, I know, man.
Yeah, you know, I just bought a new car last year, and I started putting a system in mine, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, they definitely are. I hate working on new stuff. That's why when I did my Suburban, it's a 2002, and I'm like, man, this is so easy to work on.
Yeah.
I love my old trucks. So, all right, man. Well, let's go unbox these speakers and take a look at the towers and see how they look and
let's check
get this
them out.
stuff hooked up.
Get it hooked up and let's hear it.
Cool.
Let's see what it sounds like.